Let's go back now to our top story this hour. That news that the leader of the Islamic State group in the Greater Sahara has been killed. Adnan Abu Walid al-Sahrawi neutralised, we're being told, by French forces, an announcement made by the French president. We're joined on set now by Wassim Nasr to take a closer look at this. Wassim, firstly, tell us what more do we know about this operation that led apparently to his death?
Actually, we know that it happened in mid-August. It was a drone. He was hit by a drone. And the first information we started to have on the 22nd or the 23rd about his death, but it wasn't confirmed up to the last week from local sources and then by the French president himself. We know that it happened in the area of Dangarous. It's south of Terangit. It's on the border between Mali and Niger, a zone of, in the Menaka, a zone of activity of Islamic State jihadis. And what we know too, that there was no crew sent after the hit to verify who was killed, which means one thing, which means that it was an opportunistic hit. Like a drone was flying in the zone, they targeted a bike with two persons on it, they were armed, so they fit into the criteria of jihadis and a jihadi area activity, and they were hit. And it was like he wasn't targeted himself by this operation. It happened before when the French forces killed a prominent Al-Qaeda leader, Abu Humam, the military leader of Jama'at Nasr al-Muslimin in 2019. They made an operation on the ground, boots on the ground. They killed him and they killed someone with him. And the person with him was more important than Abu Humam at the time. It was Abu Ayad al-Tunisi, a Tunisian jihadi, very prominent, a part of the Akim Shura, part of a bigger Shura of Al-Qaeda Center, and he was killed like he was not targeted. And he was more important than Abu Humam himself. So it already happened. So those are the circumstances up to now, and this is why it took some time to be confirmed.
Okay, so a little bit by chance. But tell us more about this leader of the Islamic State group in the Greater Sahara. I mean, and what impact does his death have on that group?
He's a veteran of jihad. He's from Moroccan. He's a Moroccan national. He was part of the Polisario, which is a rebel group in Morocco. He joined jihad in the Sahel region. He was one of the first to join jihad in the Sahel region. He was part of Al-Qaeda, and then he was the spokesperson of Al-Murabitun, a splinter of Al-Qaeda at the time. And in 2015, to make it short, he vowed allegiance in the name of the Murabitun to the Islamic State, which was denied by the Murabitun at the time, which split the group again. And the head of the group, Mukhtar al-Mukhtar, decided to go back to Al-Qaeda. And Abu Walid put the first seed of the Islamic State in the Sahel region. It took the Islamic State 1 year to recognize this allegiance, and more than in 2016 and up to 2019 in order to begin to claim operations in the name of the Islamic State done by his men, knowing that in between we had the Tongo Tongo attack in which several American Green Beret were killed in Niger, and it was never claimed by the Islamic State till 2019. So the relation with the Islamic State Center wasn't that clear because they were afraid that he was still too close to Al-Qaeda. They were afraid that he will go back to Al-Qaeda. So that's why it took some time. But at the end of the day, this branch of the Islamic State depends from the branch around Lake Chad, Islamic State in Western Africa. And it was very active in 2019. Just to give you a little bit some numbers, they were responsible for the deaths of 14 French military in November 2019. 13 were killed in a helicopter collision accident, but during an operation against the Islamic State operatives. And the first French military was at the 2nd of November, of 2019, with an IED, an improvised explosive device, by the Islamic State. So the rate of French death in the Sahel since 2013 is a little bit more than 50 today. So you can imagine that in a few months they had a very high score. So this is why in the meeting of Pau in January 2020, French presidency decided to focus on the three-border region and on the Islamic State. They were contained in 2020 because of French effort, because of African armies' effort, Mali and Niger in particular, but also because of another thing, because of the ongoing war, intra-jihadi war with Al-Qaeda. They are at war with Al-Qaeda. They did a lot of harm to each other, which led to the containment, the actual containment, combined with the French activity and African activity of the Islamic State in this region. And in the latest months, many leaders of the group were targeted by the French. Even they captured a prominent judge of the Islamic State, Abu Dardar. He's in custody now. They interrogated him. They killed another very prominent figure, a Tuareg figure, Al-Ahmad Agbaid, known as Ikarai, another veteran of jihad. And this Tuareg figure was like represented their implantation in the Menaka region in Mali. And all those killings weakened the group, but the group is still active.
Even after this man.
Even after that, because the heart of the recruitment of the group, even if the leaders are maybe sometimes foreigners or from other countries, but the core recruits are from the Fulani population in Niger and the Tilaberi. And they are still being able to recruit in this population because of multiple grievances in the region and intra-community conflicts. So it's a lottery, in my sense, to kill leaders because we don't know who's going to come after him. Is he going to be harder? Is he going to be smarter? Is he going to be more efficient or not? It's a lottery, but actually it will disturb the activity of the group, at least on the short and on the short term. Sometimes it's better for jihadi groups to see the leaders die because of internal conflict that will die with the leader who died. And we know that in this group there are many internal conflicts. There were many internal conflicts lately. And you have another example. For example, in Iraq, when Baghdadi took over the command of the Islamic State, he took over after an American operation that killed the leader at the time, in 2010, and his deputy. And everybody thought that Baghdadi was just an expert in religion and without any military credentials. And even the Americans lowered the reward from 10 million to 5 million, if I recall well. And we know what he did later. He exported the Islamic State way beyond Iraq and to the whole world. And today we're talking about the Islamic State in the Sahel region.
Indeed.
So we'll see.
Okay, very interesting analysis on that, Wassim Nasr. Thanks
you.
very much indeed.